understandings and wishes of the residents and citizens and taxpayers of this community. It seems very strange that there should be yet another unofficial survey done of this town. Do a survey, do things like that in a legal and open and transparent way, using hearings, using the Wind Committee that you officially convened. That would seem to be the most transparent mode of governance for this kind of process, not to do another survey that could take 6 months.
It can't take 6 months because the moratorium expires in June.
Maybe that's the point.
No, I don't think so.
I can't, you know, I'd rather keep my mouth shut, but I do have to say something. Two of you were actually on that Wind Committee.
Right.
There were a huge variety of people with a variety of different opinions about the proposed project and big wind projects in general.
Mhm.
We did a lot of homework and a lot of research. That bibliography is pages long. What I want to point out is that this report and the provisions in the draft law were unanimously accepted by the Wind Advisory Committee. It wasn't that there was dissension that was expressed and that there was one report for the majority and one for the minority. That was a unanimously submitted report. So I must feel a little bit like doing another survey and doing all this. I agree with Pat, with Nancy, let's just have some public hearings and not waste a lot more time. And I'm going to ask the second question that I've been asking at the last 2 meetings that I've attended. I believe that the Wind Advisory Committee, who put together that law, should have the ability not to just sit in on any workshop, but to actually participate in it and answer questions and respond when and if misinformation or misinterpretations are made. It's a complex law. And to muzzle the people who actually drafted the law and know what it says seems to me somewhat just seems wrong-headed. Seems wrong-headed. So I will once again formally make that request and let it be reflected in the minutes that the workshop allow the participation of the members of the Wind Committee. And I will also say that it has come to my attention that some people believe that EDP is a corporation who's coming into this town and this community to try to sell something upon which they are going to make a great deal of money, seems to be held at the same level as a duly constituted committee pursuant to a town law. They're apples and oranges. And now I'm going to shut up.
Okay, thank you.
I just got a little bit to say here. I thought that these meetings were to get input from the town. It's publicized, everybody knows about it, people come. It seems like you're looking for a referendum out there by sending out a survey to find out how everybody feels. If they don't feel about it, they should be if they're not here, then they shouldn't have any feelings about it. It looks like you're looking for something that you don't quite have yet, and you're reaching for it.
And also, it looks like the wind company has had time to do more recruiting in order to bring in more people to the meetings.
That's the whole idea of it.
And is that the purpose of the delay?
It's not, no.
I could have read a lot of that stuff in 2 months' time.
Yeah.
The town planning board has had those documents in their hands for 2 full months.
I read it one more time, I'll have it memorized.
Me too.
Yeah.
So why are we,
The delay at the last meeting was because the town board, the planning board didn't have the document early enough to survey it or to look at
They
it.
didn't have either, that was true.
All right, now we're a month later and they still haven't done anything.
That's right, because 2 of them are in Florida. I haven't looked at it yet.
have you ever heard of Federal Express?
Yeah, ever heard of email?
That too.
So
If the
again,
moratorium is up in June, can you do any voting on anything before June?
Should extend it 2 months.
Yeah, you can extend it, I think,
Just
Gene,
6
it's
months.
3 months once, or is it 6 months? It's either 3 or 6 months, you can't extend it.
Yeah, but you can't do any voting until the moratorium is done.
No, you,
That's the whole
we
purpose.
vote before the moratorium is done. Technically, if you haven't voted, then you gotta extend it. Now, I see on the news tonight, not relative to this, but the Assembly just extended the moratorium until 2015 on fracking.
And the Senate-
Yeah, that's about like our farm bill and everything else out there.
I think you have a lot of concerned people coming here month after month after month after month, and we get told basically nothing. I mean, we're disseminating, this group has been disseminating and doing a lot of legwork, spend a lot of time on everything, and people come here and they wanna hear what people at the table have to say, how things are progressing, and we get nothing. I mean, 2 people in Florida, they didn't just leave yesterday, they've been gone. Somebody needs to make an attempt to move things along. People are trying, I can see it all the time, trying to be as polite as we can be, but it does try our patience.
Sure does.
Any comments?
And what is the potential date for the workshop?
I would like to see it next month because it's April.
So have you discussed a date with Mr. Bono?
Well, we set one date and canceled it.
I realize that. I mean, we were at that meeting, and I know there was a great deal of discussion at the last town board meeting about the time of day for a workshop to make it available to as many people as possible. And then also, of course, having an appropriate site, rather than having people stand in hallways and,
Yeah, I know, it's
Yeah.
just,
so have you had any discussion with Mr. Bono since then as to a potential date?
I've had discussions, there's no date.
When do you expect to establish a date?
Do you need Mr. Bono to do a planning board workshop?
Not to do a planning board, but I wanna do a joint one.
Oh, that's gonna be fun. We can't even get the planning board together. Imagine how long it's gonna be to get everybody else.
You guys wanna do a workshop together? Mitch,
Sure.
Bruce? John?
Whatever it takes.
Let's pick a date.
I think the purpose of these meetings are supposed to be to constructive input, not for cross-examination and prosecuting.
No, that's true, I know.
Yeah, we're not accomplishing anything by
Yeah, I
it.
know that.
Excuse me, under open meetings law, public participation in political processes, governance is not cross-examination. We are asking questions to try to clarify the process of law that affects all of our properties and lives. That's not a cross-examination.
Maybe I worded that incorrectly, but it's,
I don't,
you get the point. We need to accomplish.
could we do a workshop like Wednesday night? Would that fit in?
I'll make time for that, definitely.
Next Wednesday night?
Yeah,
Everybody else is
Thursday,
available.
7 o'clock.
Roger,
Yeah,
is that a public meeting?
yeah,
Does it have to have so many days of notification?
yeah.
Are you within that period?
That'll work.
I can get away with 5. On the other hand, how about the 20th and not 13th?
I got a conflict on the 20th.
Do you?
Yeah, because by the time the paper comes out, you haven't got your even 5 days.
Yeah. so it's gonna be fine.
Okay, if it's gonna take that long, get the town board too. I mean,
Would we be able to do it on Saturday or Sunday? Or is everybody tied up?
Still haven't got you 5 days.
When will Jim be back? Ted?
They won't be back till the 1st of April.
Jim too?
Yeah, Jim too. Actually, Ted won't be back until the 3rd.
Ted said he'd be willing to do it by phone on the that's.
Yeah, I know, he do it by phone.
Mr. Hoffmeister, may I address you?
Sure.
I don't really think that it's cross-examinations. I think that it's questions that we have that continue to be unanswered.
So again, it's, you get my point though, right?
Yeah,
We need to con-
but that,
have constructive
it's not,
meetings.
it's not you that is putting us in this position. It is the town board. They're putting us both in this position to be adversaries, when that's not what we're interested in doing. We're interested in working with you to create the best law we can for the town of Madison.
That's what we need to do.
You know, and this whole adversarial thing has been created by the town board. And they set you up time and again for this kind of a situation, and, you know, we don't know how to resolve that.
We're gonna resolve it.
It'll be resolved, Joe, some way or another.
I appreciate that, you know, I mean, that's all we're trying to do. We know that people are gonna agree and disagree with whatever law is created. But we just want it to move forward in a transparent fashion. And you end up getting the brunt of it because we've been frustrated now for 2 months. And I apologize that you carry that burden. But I do thank you for trying to figure out how we can work it out.
Definitely need.
Why don't we try to do something positive here right now and try to formulate when we can meet with the town board and the citizens and hash out what we presented as a win law.
I think we do need to meet with the, have a town
You know, I
board
mean,
here.
let's get the firehouse or something and have a big meeting and, you know, present what we've got, and the other planning board members can have their opinions on the recommendations we made, and the town board can, and, you know, just hash it out. I don't understand why we can't, you know, move forward with it in that direction. I think that's probably what everybody wants.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think that's something that needs to be done. I don't know if we can set a date tonight, because we need to get the town board involved, but I just think I think maybe you need to talk to the town board tomorrow and try to get consensus on when they're available, and us as members when we're available, and get this thing figured out.
Ellen, go ahead.
Also, in the spirit of being constructive and positive and also effective, I'd like to reinforce the request that the members of the Wind Advisory Committee be able to be fully participatory in the workshop in order to have good evidence, interpretation, and analysis be undertaken, which would seem to me the purpose of a good fleshing out and workshop. I think that just makes a lot of good sense.
Actually, it does, and I have no objections to that either. So you can't come on the 20th? I want to set a tentative date so I can
Yeah, and I.
see the town board.
But I think.
I have an idea. The town board meeting is next
It's on the
Thursday.
14th,
So
yeah.
why don't you guys try to make it a big priority to talk to the town board between now and then and be able to set that date clearly
On
in
Thursday.
front of everybody at the town board meeting next Thursday, and all of us will endeavor to be there
I
as
can
well.
do that.
Cool.
And
That
we'll-
would be seriously appreciated.
Next Thursday, right?
I agree with what he
Yeah.
said, get more people together for a big meeting, but advertise more for whether you're for the windmills or you're against the windmills, so that there's equal people. There's a lot of people that maybe are for the windmills that don't even know about what's going on.
Well,
I'm an
maybe
example.
the postcard you wanna send out should tell people that we're gonna have a meeting and they should attend.
Right.
Maybe put it on a billboard out front that's usually got nothing on it.
Yeah, another thing I wanted to say to you,
Can-
you know, you got your pro, when I say pro and con, you know, we have to stay right in the middle.
Right.
Can I also address that?
Pro and
It ain't fair if you got 100 people against and 50 people for, and the other 50 people don't even know about it.
Yeah, no.
It's their responsibility to find out.
Wait, we're getting off the topic here,
Yeah.
because
Not
I
really.
want to reiterate that this is not about whether somebody is for or against wind. That is absolutely not the case. What the law attempts to do is create a balance between the interests of the people who do not necessarily want to have them living right next to them, and those who do. And the purpose of that law was to try to be
Fair and.
fair to both sides to the extent possible. So this is not going to be a debate about whether we are pro-wind or anti-wind, and we have to have that very clear, sir.
Yeah, I think it is clear.
Have you had a chance to read the wind law, to see what the setbacks are on it and
Jeff,
Yeah,
and stuff?
I'm just,
there's pros
is
and
the
cons
board
to
still in
everything
session
life.
right now?
Yeah.
Have you guys
actually
closed the
did,
meeting?
we hadn't.
Because I'm just wondering,
Otherwise,
with the debate in the audience versus addressing things to the board. Seeing the value in addressing the board versus sidebar conversations.
Understood.
Understood, yeah.
Well, yeah, well, let's make it a point to talk to the town board,
I'm gonna do that.
and let's get a date firm where we can do this and go through our recommendations.
I think the only way, I think Gene is right, the only way we can do it is to, do it next Thursday night at the town board meeting.
To set up a date,
Yeah.
Have it established so that it can be announced.
Everybody can hear and see and know what's going on.
Yeah, convey that to Ron that this isn't gonna hold it.
Oh, no, this is not gonna hold.
Yeah.
Ron, I have a question.
Go ahead, Charlie.
I understand this is a planning board meeting, and it seems like wind and non-wind seems to be, you know, the sole topic of the meeting. I bring up the issue of land use planning again, because I do think there is a lot of fuzziness and misunderstanding of what a land use plan is and how it's arrived at and its consequences. Balanced land use, to me, probably overrides all the other considerations about what kind of energy we use in the community. And I think it's the bear in the room, and I think we have to realize that balanced land use planning, somebody has to speak for the landowners, the open spaces, the wildernesses, and look at land in a more realistic way, rather than just talk about slice and dice, lots, plots, and whatever, you know. So, is there any topic that's going to be discussed about land use in conjunction with whether we have a windmill or not a windmill?
I don't think so. I mean, land use is a topic that's supposedly gonna be addressed, but, let's do the windmills first.
Well, that's my problem,
Yeah,
the cart before the horse, you know, that's what I've seen since the beginning.
Land use has a bearing on it, I know that.
Yeah, we don't realize what we're doing to our land by honest efforts at trying to protect our own interests and viewpoints. And I'm not trying to side with anyone, I'm just saying that the future generations are not here. And what we do is going to have a big impact on how they grow up, you know, in a suburban environment or in this nice looking environment.
If I might address you in regards to the land use.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. I'll second.
To address him, not me.
In favor? Aye. So passed.
Didn't decide, we just adjourned it.
So does that mean we can't have any further conversation?
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
In regard to the land use, there was a very large turnout at the last town board meeting to discuss the land use law, or lack thereof, that was presented to the town. And it's all, I personally am looking for is the same clarification as Mr. Bostic is looking for, that there is some kind of land use law that is being developed. What was presented was not even the shell of a law. And I know that the planning board has done the work and created what needs to be done. That there are things in the history books and in the village records that address land use.
There are, but up front, I wanna say, we did not create that land use.
I understand that. I understand that completely. I'm just also addressing what Mr. Bostic said.
And that was the first time I'd ever seen that document.
Same with
Yeah.
you.
And I
The
sat
town
there and
comprehensive plan has the blueprint
So
for
the-
land use
so
law,
the-
balanced land use law.
So that
It's
the
there.
group that's here tonight is also interested in balanced land use, as is the planning board. But again, we have been blindsided by the town board presenting a law that was not a law.
And that you had no input into, as a planning board.
And as a planning board, you had no input.